Head over to the brand new FriendoShop.com and get your latest Friendo merchandise. While you're there, use code FriendoFriday to get 20% off. And don't forget to pick up Don't Interrupt the Game t-shirt right now. FriendoShop.com. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And these days, we tape it live across both Twitch and the YouTube. So if you have a chance after, let's see here, Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, Wednesdays after Dynamite, and Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific, we do our live shows across the Twitch and the YouTube. So be sure to check those out. This weekend is going to be a little bit silent, no pay-per-views. And in fact, I think the only major show we have scheduled to do like a major live show live stream is going to be Winter is Coming.
Yes.
I think we're going to do that on the Wednesday of Winter is Coming.
Yeah. We'll still do predictions for Final Battle and Deadline, yes, for the sake of monthly predictions.
Yeah, for the sake of Big Red, we're going to...
The only watch-along is going to be Winter is Coming, yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably do that stuff in the Friday video, though. Like, I don't know. Or we could do, like, a special thing for Friendo Club TV. I don't know.
Well, you mean like actual video for those predictions?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just want to do the Twitter post?
Well, I figure we're going to, like, look, it's content. You know, we do predictions in the Friday episode.
That's true.
So, yeah, we're going to be doing that. And then, of course, on the 10th, same day, as Ring of Honor Final Battle.
Like, everything is happening December 10th.
December 10th is, like, the fulcrum point.
It really is. It's the nexus of all activities for Christmas
the universe,
season, seemingly.
The wrestling universe, our wrestling
Everything's
universe.
happening that day.
Because not only is there Ring of Honor Final Battle, sure, whatever. NXT Deadline, okay. Action Coast Wrestling, yes. Northern California.
Action Coast Wrestling.
Action Coast Wrestling. Resurgence is the name of the show. It's the first show as owners of ACW, December 10th. Anything can happen. We're in charge. What does that mean? I don't know. We should probably start planning this thing out, man.
Oh, we got 8 days.
We got 8 days. We got, I think, what, 5, 6 matches? How many matches we got on the card?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
It's a fluid thing.
I'm sure the show will happen.
Show's going to be amazing regardless because we're in charge. So if you're in the Northern California area, or I'll be honest with you, anywhere around the globe, there's still 8 days. 8 days.
8 days.
If this was yesterday, it would have been 9 days.
9 days.
You can book a ticket, a plane ticket, a hotel, lodging, and then get a ticket for Action Coast Wrestling. It's available at Eventbrite. You just look up Action Coast Wrestling, and it's right there. So be sure to check that out. Help support Steven Larson's new business endeavor. I mean, dude, like 5 mortgages on my house.
We need all the help we can get.
I invested in this thing called FTX. That's what ACW is all funded by FTX.
So what you're telling me is that we're already bankrupt.
It's just going to, honestly, like the wrestlers are going to be like, well, we're not getting paid. We're not showing up. So it's just going to be me and Larson in a 3-hour catch-as-catch.
That's going to be like an old-timey, like turn of the century, like 19th century match where it's this
collar and elbow. You think we can figure out how to do whatever a collar and elbow tie-up is?
Maybe.
What is a collar and elbow tie-up, Larson? Isn't it like you get somebody
tie up
down
around
there?
the collar, the collarbones and the elbows?
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
And we just do this, jockey for position.
And we have a lunch break. Get tired of that. Anyways,
exactly.
on today, we got a lot to talk about today. On today's episode of Going In Raw, we're going to talk about Road to Deadline NXT. They decided, they had a bunch of old people sitting around deciding on. I'll be honest, I actually like this segment. I like this segment. I thought everybody took their roles very seriously. And you can't help. Whenever I see Shawn Michaels talk about NXT, I can't help but try to appreciate it more. I'm not the biggest fan of NXT, the product, but when I see Shawn Michaels, I'm like, oh, he's trying. He's doing what he can do.
You can tell he's really trying.
He really can. He really is. And maybe the Iron Survivor will be cool. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Impact Wrestling, which not for the first time featured a murder. Impact Wrestling has known to literally kill off characters before.
It's a tradition, yeah.
And I thought this was the most powerful murder we've seen in Impact Wrestling. I was moved by this. I thought it was actually really, really well done.
It was really, really well done. Yeah, the setup for it, the execution, everything was great.
It's funny. It was sort of the tale of Well, I'd say 2 hours, but the way I watch it, it's like an hour 40 or hour 30 or whatever, because I thought like the last chunks of Impact were really good, but like that opening was awful. Like Bully Ray is not helping things in Impact. He really is not.
No, you don't open your episodic TV show with a half-hour segment featuring Bully Ray.
Yeah, that's just not good.
It's not a really good way to retain viewership.
On top of that, we've got Triple H calling in at the end of the show, of course, to preview tonight's Smackdown on FS1. So that should be fun for you. Of course, during that call, I'll be doing plenty of paperwork as usual.
Fun is the word,
but of course, a lot of people come here for the backstage news. We got plenty of that as well, including multiple potential returns to the WWE. And it's another day, another CM Punk story, Larson. Let's talk about it. What's going on with CM Punk?
So, in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer has the latest. Is this ongoing saga between CM Punk, AEW? Is he going to be bought out of his deal? Sticking around? Is he going to feud with the Elite when he comes back from injury? Who knows? So, this is what Meltzer had to say. Quote, Punk, as of the weekend, was still under contract to AEW and being paid, and those close to him say the holdup on his being released is all on the AEW side, as he's ready and willing to move on to his next project. Meltzer also added that while the Elite poking fun at Punk, you know, you could come to the conclusion, this is going to lead to a feud.
Right.
I understand that. But from all accounts, that feud has, quote, very little. In fact, those close to the situation say no chance, not very little, of happening.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. When you and I when we watched that episode of Dynamite and did our recap, neither you nor I, and I don't recall, because, you know, we pay close attention to the chat. What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube?
Hi.
Hey, YouTube, do us a quick favor. Bang, hit that like button. We've got 200 people watching right now. Hit that like button. Do us a favor.
Yes, please.
It never crossed my mind that was building to a return.
They were just trying to get heat in Chicago. That's all it was.
That's what I thought. But then, you know, the next day, I get on the Twitter, and of course, you know, wrestling internet's like, dude, he's gonna come back. This is him. He's gonna go. This is the work. This is coming back.
Yeah.
And then like I saw like some criticisms of like, why are they doing this? People are gonna. Well, it was like 2 weeks ago? It was just over a week ago they did that, right?
Yeah, about 10 days.
Right. And it's like they moved on. I don't get the sense that this is like a hotly debated thing. No. He ain't coming back.
Nope.
And I'm curious though. What do you think this? Let's baselessly speculate.
What the holdup is
here? Yeah, what's the holdup?
I'm sure. That we've heard it's the non-compete, and if it's a situation where AEW says, "Oh, we want you to like not wrestle anywhere else for a year,"
yeah,
and Punk's like, "No,
yeah, time's a ticking."
That's ridiculous. Then I could see that being a holdup, and in the past, that's what we've heard, that there's still the one issue kind of to be worked out is the non-compete period.
Yeah.
And if Punk is ready on every other count, just be like, I'm done with this. I'm ready to move on. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. Give me a more reasonable no-compete period, and then yes, I'll sign off on any sort of buyout. And if it's AEW, yes, saying, well, no, we want a pretty protracted no-compete period. You know, just based on information we have read about, that would seem to make the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe. Here's one other thing. Tony Khan might think, all right, you know, give this situation time. Punk's going to be out for another 6 months regardless. We'll pay his deal at the end of that 6 months after he's healed from surgery, after he's done his rehab. Maybe at that juncture, we can all sit down and try to work things out. That's the only other possibility I could see. I'm guessing it's more the buyout situation than waiting out the injury, but who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces to something like this. There's a lot of money involved, probably many lawyers involved. So yeah, who knows what the situation is, what kind of business dealings we're looking at here. So yeah, but I don't know. No more movement on. He's obviously clearly moved on to at least one other project that's getting back to the MMA commentary. But you know, I'm kind of curious if there are projects that this holdup are being held up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously in wrestling, given that Tony Khan is cool with people doing pretty much anything but other wrestling for major television companies. I'm sure in CM Punk's case, I don't know if his contract would have allowed him to do indie dates, given how much money he probably was making, if he even wanted to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I wonder what, like, I wonder if it's just a matter of, man, dude wants closure,
that could be it.
and freedom to do what he wants to do.
Exactly.
And get that call from Triple H, which we'll be getting here at the end of the show to preview SmackDown. Maybe CM Punk wants to preview SmackDown and hear that old Phil's going to be on it. Maybe. Not yet, though. Not yet.
No,
yeah,
not yet.
Can't move on yet, Phil. Sorry.
Gonna be a while.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about this right here, man. One of our favorite characters in all of wrestling, William Regal.
Yeah, do the voice, Steve.
So, of course, I'll do this entire news story as well.
Oh, wow.
Talk of William Regal leaving AEW to return to WWE picked up after MJF punched me with brass knuckles, the ultimate villain, during this week's Dynamite. And David Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer, has the latest on the situation in this week's newsletter, saying it was said when Regal signed that he had a three-year deal. That's my Meltzer. He says, Meltzer says, there have been a number of different stories, but the one said by someone involved in the deal is that it was actually a short-term deal that is about to expire and is expected to be returning to WWE. Multiple WWE sources have said Regal had an out clause in his contract. Actually, the returning to WWE is basically a given at this point, whether it was a short-term deal or Tony Khan letting him out of his deal out of respect for him. There are many other versions going around wrestling as to what happened, but the short-term deal is the primary source story.
It's interesting over the last week or 10 days how Regal's contract has been a year, 3 years, now short-term, or maybe long-term with an out clause.
Oh, man, this is the most fluid deal since Leo Rush.
This is like an 80s contract,
It's like Leo Rush's 53-day contract. I don't know, man. Evidently, but, the thing that I'm sticking with here is that Dave Meltzer, a guy notorious for the phrase, plans change. By the way, on behalf of fashion aficionados, including our good friend Maggie, I do not appreciate David Meltzer in the newsletter throwing a little bit of shade at Seth Rollins' choice of fashion this past week on Raw, sir. We had in the newsletter a breakdown of WWE's top viewed social media bits. And in explaining each of them, the breakdown, he said this in reference to that segment, which was, by the way, the number 3 watched social video from WWE.
All right.
Number 1, Lynch's return, 1.5 million, right? No shade there. I don't see what number 2 is here because I clipped it. But number 3, Rollins dressed in women's underwear confronts theory. So as much as I thought Seth's outfit was great, that's kind of funny. That's a little bit funny. Because as soon as we saw it, what I think, because it was during the Warzone, and Forza and I were watching, I said to myself, I think I said out loud, he's wearing negligee. He's wearing some ladies' pajamas. But still, he rocked it. It. That dude could wear anything, and he'd rock it.
Heck yeah.
Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, having a little bit of fun there with Seth Rollins.
I guess so.
Maybe he thought he should be wearing some acid wash jeans and a medium polo.
Maybe, yeah.
The Wrestling Observer's outfit of choice.
Or some vintage wrestling shirt from the mid-1980s.
A faded Brian Cage t-shirt.
There you go. Yes.
and a rip-off Burberry scarf.
There we go. Yeah, $12 rip-off Burberry scarf.
Yeah. But anyways, who knows? But the thing is, Meltzer often says, well, maybe this will happen, but then maybe this will happen.
Yeah, he always kind of hedges his bets on some of this stuff.
But in this case, definitively, he seems to say Regal is headed to WWE.
Yeah, I think PW Insider more or less said the same. Mm-hmm. So it seems to be happening. I guess the details, whether it's an out clause, short-term contract, kind of less important than the fact that Regal is going back to WWE.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah.
But then he'll show up on Dynamite Wednesday. I don't know. We all thought he was gone for a while after Moxley told him to get to stepping.
Well,
And he shows up next week.
what was also interesting in the newsletter write-up of this was criticism that I don't 1,000% agree with, but understand completely and understand the point of view that Meltzer was getting at, where, he had said a lot of the talent were, I guess, critical of the decision to put Regal with the understanding that Regal's going to be gone. Have Regal turn on Moxley. And then have MJF turn on Regal. I actually thought that does kind of make some sense because it shows that MJF is the ultimate villain. He swerved the guy who swerved his guy. There's nothing like, you actually see that in movies quite a bit, where the bad guy is so bad, the bad guy trying to get on his good side ends up getting swerved by the main bad guy.
1,000%, yeah.
That happens quite a bit in popular fiction. I'm sure. I mean, in my head, I know Darth Vader's done that before. I don't know. Probably in all the ancillary products, he probably has. Anyways,
it's happened. Yeah.
But you see that stuff happening all the time, and I understand in the world of wrestling, it might be something that doesn't happen a lot. But I like having my wrestling infused with inspiration from other, fictional elements or whatever. But yeah, man. No, I think Regal going back to WWE. So we had this question in here in our chat before during our pre-show. How would you like to see?
What's he going to do? I think. Yeah. I mean, him going back to NXT makes a lot of sense. He was really important to what they were doing there, from my understanding, from a developmental side. He's been sorely missed, and not to say that Shawn Michaels isn't great as kind of authority figure, but Regal was awesome as authority figure in NXT, and as we talked about, it probably was Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. It was Wednesday. Maybe the traveling aspect of working AEW may not be to his liking, and that's something he would have to do if he were on main roster. Whereas in NXT, unless he's going on an occasional scouting trip or something, you wouldn't expect a whole lot of travel involved. We don't know exactly his situation, perhaps his motivation to want to go back to WWE, and unless we know that, it's hard to really say what exact role he's going to fill. But I would just kind of say NXT still makes sense.
I'm not huge on that unless there was an effort to bring in more top flight indie talent into NXT as opposed to doing what they've done over the past year, which is basically try to build from scratch. It's just a different show. It's a different presentation, and I think it'd be kind of wasted there, with the exception of what goes on behind the scenes, where he'd be invaluable, obviously. Just as a fan of the product, I'd love to see him on main roster. I don't know what role. I don't know if it's a managerial role for somebody, or if it's a general manager role, whatever it would be. I actually really, there were elements of his AEW run that I actually liked a lot more than his general manager role in NXT. I thought that he was an excellent general manager, but I do like to see a bit of the fiery, villainous Regal, or even the guy who's, Mox isn't a bad guy necessarily, but there is an edge to Regal, even with the Blackpool Combat Club, that I really appreciated. So seeing him mix it up a bit more as opposed to general manager who, Samoa Joe says, you need better security.
Gosh, that was great.
Yeah, it was great. But no, I don't know, putting him with somebody or in in some sort of role where he gets to mix it up a little bit more is probably my preference in terms of being sort of a fan of the actual product.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Let's talk about this. The Rock, we all assume he's facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but how are we going to get that match? How is that match going to come to be? So Meltzer talked about some of those scenarios that apparently have been pitched within WWE, including one that I don't know if I'm too keen on. That's having the Rock win the Rumble, is what Meltzer had to say. Quote, the idea that if you could pick the perfect scenario for Mania season, what would you do? And the obvious answer becomes Rock winning the Royal Rumble, either as an announced entrant or a surprise, as either works for different reasons, and then going to face Roman Reigns for the title at Mania. It keeps the tradition of the Rumble winner getting the title match alive, but obviously if Johnson can't do Rumble, but can do Mania, they will do that match either way. The idea was being talked about behind the scenes, but as best we could tell, while rumors certainly exist within the company, as far as those who would be in the position to know, there is no real answer. The idea we heard regarding a discussion and nothing more, like I said, is being talked about as a pie in the sky, is a surprise number 30 entrant and winning It could be something only a few people know, but as best we could tell, there's nothing official to it right now past a rumor.
Yeah, I'm not. You know why I'm not huge on The Rock winning the Rumble? Number one, it'd be stupid for us to say that it's not best for business. It is.
Yeah, probably.
1,000% is. To get those kind of eyes on the product, to have a memorable moment like that, to see the crowd explode. Mm-hmm. You want to make WWE seem big. Oh my God, that's a no-brainer. You do it. Of course you do it if you can do it.
Yeah. That
being said, again, speaking from the perspective of a fan of the product, as much as I love Rock and I would love to see, and I'm looking forward to his WrestleMania match against Roman if it happens. My main creative problem with that is that this ain't going to be kept quiet.
No.
We'll know going into it that he's going to show up at number 30. It's going to be one of those non-surprise surprises.
Well, I mean, I think more than likely it'd be WWE's generally not very good about keeping huge surprises like that surprises because they want to announce it so people know, oh, if I watch this show, The Rock's going to be there for the most part, you know? And
the biggest problem with that, creatively speaking, is it kills any and all drama. It just sucks the intrigue out of the Royal Rumble. I love it when it's the great unknown. You know, it's like, oh, I don't know who's going to win this thing. Who's, it's thrilling. It's, oh my gosh. If The Rock comes out there and he gets eliminated by scripts, well, that ain't going to happen. You know what I mean? Like that ain't a possibility.
Yeah.
And so the idea of him coming in at 30 and eliminating, I don't know who, but a couple of heels or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like, okay. It's kind of like, honestly, it's kind of like when Mustafa Ali was so close to Money in the Bank, and then Brock's music hits, and it just deflates, and it's like, oh,
I know. It's
well,
like
we know how this is going to end.
The worst of Vince style booking.
It is, yeah.
You know, where you sacrifice the present and future in terms of pushing talent for a huge name for one moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I know it could be an issue motivating a means by which Roman either voluntarily or is put in a position to defend the title in the Rumble. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's good symmetry there because he was put in that position a few years back where they said, the authority says you have to defend the title during the Rumble. Now, if he wants to say, I want to come full circle with that, prove I'm head of the table, which, who knows if he would be up to doing that storyline wise, and win the Rumble that way, only for The Rock to come out at the end and challenge him to a match at Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting themselves in a situation where they want to book this match, and there's really no easy way to get there.
Yeah, the Rumble has all of a sudden become, in terms of, quote the Raven here in chat says, it doesn't need the title. I respectfully disagree with that. I think it does need the title.
It does need the title, yeah.
And this is sort of kind of a unique situation where the Rumble, now that there's only one title, the Rumble kind of ends up being a bit of a detriment to storytelling possibilities because whoever wins Rumble has to get a shot, at Mania. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like, all of a sudden we're confronted with a situation where it's like, yeah, like either The Rock wins the Rumble. I love the suggestion that Roman wins the Rumble and does that.
Here's the thing. Brock was in the Rumble when he was champion, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
And then Drew eliminated him.
Mm-hmm.
Have the same thing. Have these rumors coming out that Rock's going to be number 30 and have Roman come out at 30 and win.
Ooh.
And then The Rock comes out and challenges him.
Dude, you know what? Creatively speaking, I love it, but I don't think they do that shit. I really don't. It'd be like somebody here mentioned Batista 2014. I think I don't know. I don't know how that would play. I don't know if they want to mess around with that too much. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if you're saying Rock comes out after that and challenges him, maybe, but man, I don't know. I hope they get clever with it, but if they can get The Rock at number 30, they're going to do that. Like if they can do it, they're going to do it because like, why wouldn't they? It's business wise. It's a no-brainer. Their stock is up to $80. Their share price is up to $80. Remember when we were like, oh, this $100 is never going to be reached again when it got to 100 and then it shot down. But oh my God. Yeah, it's nuts. They're big business right now.
That they are. And, in a situation, if The Rock can't make the Rumble, then you could do the same thing where Roman's at 30, he wins it and says, this is my show. And then cue chat question from The Rock, play on the Tron.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's not an unlikely scenario, although that's something that's only been really bandied about between you and I, or at least in this sphere that I've noticed. I haven't seen any chatter of that being a possibility. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, man, what a great idea, but doesn't seem to be on anybody's radar to do that. So probably not going to happen.
Who knows? Let's talk about something great, that being the video package last night at Impact where Diener apparently murdered Eric Young, writing Eric Young off Impact TV. And the reason he was written off Impact TV, according to PW Insider, is that Eric Young is heading back to WWE.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great. I thought the segment last night was so well done. We're about to talk about that here in a second. Yeah. It was awesome. The everything about it was so good. And yeah, I think that's all. I think it's a loss for Impact, although he hasn't been as prominently featured as of late. They do a lot of stuff cinematically to the side on Impact with Young and Violence by Design, but then he gets in the ring and he loses, which was a great way to set up what happened last night.
It really was.
You got to cut out the sickness of failure and telling Diener, trying to get in his head, it's me. I'm the guy who's losing all the time. You have to take care of this, right? For you to reach that next level. I thought it created a star, but going back to Eric Young, I loved Sanity in WWE. I thought they didn't do nearly enough with them. And even Half Cooked, I thought they were pretty damn cool. So I don't know if it would be a return to that Eric Young, or if maybe they're saying, hey, long term, do you want a backstage role as a producer or doing that?
I believe he's in his early 40s. Not to say, he can still go at a high level. He's still a really good wrestler.
Yeah, he's terrific. And I hope he does wrestle. I want to see him on TV.
Seems like he's got plenty of time in the ring left. But yeah, after his in-ring career is done, because I think he was doing some producing work before he got released.
Yeah, but dude, put him with Uncle Howdy, man. I want to see that shit. That'd be kind of cool.
Great.
If everybody's factioning up. So yeah, we're going to talk about NXT and Impact here in a second. But Larson, what do you say we pay some bills first?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break here, friendos. This episode of Going in Raw is brought to you by BetterHelp. There have been times in my life where I kind of wish life came with a user manual. I know I've talked about it quite a bit here on the show, but in my 20s, I got really overwhelmed by life's challenges and started dealing with pretty severe anxiety. And it got to the point where I made the decision that I needed to go to therapy.
Yeah, man. Therapists are trained to assist you in processing challenging emotions and helping you learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing, Larson, we have to that user manual of the complex machine called you.
That's correct, Steve. Well, it took me quite a while to find a therapist I felt comfortable talking to. Once I did, I was able to learn the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable.
Yeah, just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist, and then if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It could not be simpler.
No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Somebody here in chat says, Derek says, youngest this, future that. He's the now. He's Eric Young. No, he's the auteur, provocateur.
Exactly. Young love.
Young love, man. God, nothing beat young love. Anyways, let's talk about some NXT. The participants of the Iron Survivor match. 4 out of the 5 on each squad has been, or on each match has been revealed, and it was a little segment they would cut to and fro. With
the Hall of Fame panel deciding on who's going to be in each match. They'd debate pros and cons of each nominee. Someone would nominate or suggest somebody, and then they kind of debate it. And then Shawn Michaels say, "All right, everybody, write the 5 names you want in the match." Yeah, it was DX, and then Medusa and Molly Holly. Yeah. So end up being, they announced at the end of the show that Waller. Let's see if I remember. Waller, Carmelo, Gacy, and McDonough, and then the 5th one is going to be determined by a match. Yeah, and the 3 people in the wild card match are Von Wagner, Axiom, and Andre Chase. And the women's bout, can you remember who's confirmed the women's bout? I know it was Cora, it was Roxanne,
It was, hold on, don't tell me. Cora, Roxanne. Oh, wait. What's her face? The one who beat up Nikita Lyons, Stark, Zoe Stark.
Yeah, and then one more name.
And I lost it. Who is it?
Kiana James.
Kiana, oh yeah,
she's in the wild card matches.
Dude, honestly,
Wendy Chu.
I still don't know. Like Kiana James is one of the I just don't know. Like she's a developer.
Yeah,
she's a
business mogul.
That's the most 1995 vocational forgettable bullshit. It's like forgettable.
Isn't half the gimmicks in NXT now like very early 90s type stuff?
I mean, that's one reason why it just does almost nothing for me, man. It really, like, honestly, they did a good job with bringing Booker T in his commentary because at least I can listen to him because I can listen to Booker T all day long. I liked the Apollo Braun Breaker sit down. Yeah. It's funny though, like how is it that Impact can film these things much more beautifully than NXT? I swear, I don't know if it was like because Borash went up to main roster, like the one of the producers who used to do Impact stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case, but my God, like it looked, and the chemistry, the actual content, the chemistry between Apollo and Braun,
solid, was
really good. I thought that the actual writing here was really good, but God, and maybe it's just the film school shit in us, but God, man, I thought
I wonder, because just how Impact tapes, they do 2 months of TV in the span of a few days.
Yeah, right.
So they take that time maybe just to concentrate on the in-ring stuff, and then while that stuff rolls out on air, you have potentially weeks to film a chunk of stuff, say like the Violent by Design stuff, and so because you have time to film that, you can plan accordingly. Whereas some of this NXT stuff, it might be all right. The Thursday before script is done, then you have to go and lock down location, get a crew, get availabilities for the wrestlers, and try to shoot it and do post on that, with a relatively quick turnaround. And that might just be a lot. I don't know.
You have like a major cable television deal, and you've got you got
Steve. I think we're spending a lot of time talking about stuff that isn't as important as Hard Justice.
My bad. Hey, can we
thought
please
that was going to be the lead.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. YouTube chat, y'all don't know what you're missing out on. If you're not a member here going in Raw, a channel member, if you're not a member, how are you going to use the Hard Justice emote? Subs over here on Twitch, they've got it too. If you're a sub on Twitch, you can have the Hard Justice emote.
Everybody throw up their Hard Justices.
Dude, throw your Hard Justice up. Larson, this is like the worst fucking shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I love every second of it.
Talk to me about Hard Justice. Sell me on Hard Justice, man.
Well, I mean, if you're not sold by the presentation itself, you're never going to be sold. This is, as we said before, 80s action movie character come to life. It's just an amalgam of a bunch of different 80s action movie tropes all thrown together. And either you're into it or you're not.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think there's any middle ground whatsoever.
I think you're probably
I don't think you
right
can be indifferent towards Hard Justice.
You have to have an opinion about Hard Justice.
You have to have an opinion, a strong one at that.
That's right.
That's right. As you mentioned to me via text, Dijak is 1,000% invested in Hard Justice.
This seems to be, I would not be shocked if this was an actual Dijak original creation.
Yeah.
Because he seems really into it. Like, I feel like whenever he's made characters in video games, they've been Hard Justice. Mm-hmm. They've been exactly this. Like, in his head, he role plays Hard Justice.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, man. For me, it's some inner conflict because I recognize the absolute absurdity of it.
That's what I appreciate, is that it's absolutely and totally absurd.
At the same time, looking ahead, like realistically, where does he belong on main roster? Like, if the idea of NXT is let's get people, my prediction, like going forward, is going to be main roster is going to start being filled up far more by names outside of WWE than NXT. They're going to be pulling people from AEW heavily. They're going to be pulling people from potentially like New Japan. And I don't know what's going to happen to these guys in NXT when it's just going to be like a whole roster of Aaliyahs, people who were there for like 7 years. But then like Carmelo and Julius Creed and like Toxic Attraction will come up here and there. But it's like, it ain't going to be nearly the rate as it used to be, where it was like NXT, you're in the indies, For a long time, or New Japan, you go into NXT and then you go up to main roster.
Mm-hmm.
That's your stop. These days, NXT, oh my God. I don't even know where I was going with that.
I think the one thing they've gotten wrong with Hard Justice, though, is he's very much styled after an 80s style vigilante type character.
Right. That's literally all he is. Yeah.
That's literally, but
how is that wrong, though, in your estimation when you're praising him?
No, I'm not
so
saying
much?
that's wrong. I'm just saying in terms like the promo he dropped after he beat Dante Chen wasn't necessarily I'm vigilante. It's more, I mean, I didn't like this, I came here to eviscerate a soft society. I don't like that.
Again, I kind of just probably feel like that's Dijak. Like he had a really weird, this was years ago. He was testing out
NXT, yeah.
When he was still in NXT. He was testing out a gimmick that was close to being problematic, and that's all I'm gonna say. And I'm like, are there elements of that in this? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Hard Justice, but there are elements that I'm like, what are they doing over there?
and that, like, I'm right now just based on presentation.
Yeah,
I'm like 80% into it. Okay.
Yeah.
But if this is a direction they're going, it's quickly going to turn me around against it. Because if the presentation is 80s vigilante,
right, then
be an 80s vigilante.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Hard Justice. It's like, dude, I see wrongdoing, and I go above the law. I go outside the law.
Yes. I see that the system isn't doing anything about this injustice. Therefore, I go above the law. Yes.
Right. What he's doing is actually 80s movie villain, really. Because he's taking out good guys. So yeah, I don't know. And he's so orange. Like that.
Everything about the presentation I think is great.
I love the little drawing that they have of him on the Dijak thing.
It's so ridiculous. It's
ridiculous. Look, if he was facing off against what's his name, Early Morning Guy Steele.
Yeah.
If that was the deal, like in some gimmicky thing, I'd be like, oh, this is amazing. I'm all in. It's just hard for me to get too invested in Hard Justice because I'm like,
totally.
He's so cartoonish. What is he going to do when he shows up and he interrupts a Kevin Owens promo? Everybody's going to laugh him out of there.
I know Kevin Owens is going to make fun of him until the end of
He's
Raw.
going to kill him like this.
Yeah, immediately. I get that. I totally get that. This is 2 weeks of Hard Justice, you know?
And it's great to make fun of it. And I'm going to keep this. Totally. This emote is here forever, by the way. Yeah. And I'll make fun of him, left and right. But make no mistake, this is a comedic act.
This is comedic and ridiculous. And I, to a degree, give them credit by not doing a tongue-in-cheek, kind of meta self-referential thing about it, because it could maybe be more effective doing it that way, as opposed if he was like, yeah, that's right, I'm a vigilante from the 80s,
Yeah, right, yeah.
But at the same time, he comes off, again, it works to his benefit and potentially to his detriment, that he comes off as so mirthless.
Yeah.
But again, if it's this thing where I'm 80s vigilante and so I'm going to behave like 80s vigilante, then it's consistent. But the stuff in his promo last night, I was like, this isn't what you're presenting to me. So if this is what it is, it's going to ultimately turn to probably a pass from Larson.
It's like, look, you're talking about two guys right now who grew up on this shit. We know it backwards and forwards.
Really well versed in the tropes of 80s action movies. Absolutely.
Y'all are getting it wrong. But yeah, in terms of 2 weeks of presentation, it's both amazing and just absolutely
1,000%. It's amazing and totally awful.
You know who I got to give some credit to in NXT though? Big body, Javier Bernal.
He's got something at least.
Dude, no, he's got something. And right now, it's like if you like, I'm not gonna say he's the same thing, but if you look at like early Rock promos, like when he was, what was his name, Cavana something or another, right?
Flex
Cavana, which is an amazing name.
It is a great name.
It's like, oh, okay, like it's really, really like green, but there's something there. I'm not saying Javier is going to be the next time of The Rock. Don't get me. He's not going to be in any Fast and Furious movies. But he's got something there that I think can be huge if mined properly, Mm-hmm. I think the kid has charisma. I think he's got a lot of charisma.
He needs reps. That's what he needs.
He needs tons of reps. You're absolutely right. Because what we saw last night, the promo stuff that we saw, now I'm not talking about the in-ring stuff, but the promo stuff, there's really something there that could really start working if he does that consistently week after week for like a year. He's going to be fire. I firmly believe that. Yeah,
there's a lot of potential there, but yeah, he just needs some reps. Otherwise, I'm not. I texted you about this JD McDonough Diamond Mine bit. And I was like, why is this going on so long?
You did?
Yeah, I thought I did. Maybe I just thought about texting it to you, but I didn't. Because that happens sometimes.
Oh, because you watched it like on what, Wednesday or something, right?
Yeah, I watched this on Wednesday.
Oh, that's a possibility. Yeah, I watched it like late last night. Yeah. Oh, we lost him. We lost him, everybody. We lost him. Hold on, I'm gonna try to go fishing for Larson here. Whoop-a. And then reel him in. Oh, that's a hard one.
Really long. Don't know if that works. Am I fighting?
Got him back.
Thrashing about in the water.
Got you back. I got you back.
There we go. No, I just felt like it just went on forever.
Okay. Yeah.
The
match? Wait, the match or
the segment in the Diamond Gym. Did you not watch this?
No, I did. No, I totally did. He goes in there, he's talking to Ivy Nile, and then Julius and Brutus come up to him.
Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. It's like JD was trying to... It's one of those things, because with this gimmick of his, he's done a fairly good job, I think, for being menacing for that character. He seemed a bit too... Jovial's not the right word, but he was like, hey, I'm kind of actually happy to be here.
Yeah, okay. All right. I can kind of see that. It didn't, I'll be honest, it did not stand out to me.
Oh, all right.
But
I think more so than anything, it stood out that it just went on forever, it felt like.
Oh, wow. I didn't quite notice that. But then also, I'm sitting there watching NXT, and half the time if something goes on too long, I'm like, okay, what's going on Twitter? So, yeah, no, I don't know. You're probably right about that. I just didn't appreciate the creeds coming down so hard on Ivy Nile. We know how you feel. We know how she feels. You should probably listen to her, because like Indus-Sher, those are big dudes.
Yeah, I know. So. I know. I like the bit with Indus-Sher during the match though. Let's just get into it. Show opened up with Roxanne Perez taking on Indy Hartwell.
Sam. I'm sorry.
It's the first time I've ever done that.
I know. Was it off-putting?
I don't know.
Roxanne. Sorry.
So Roxanne got the win here. Hits Pop Rocks to get the W. And then it was interesting. During the Hall of Fame panel, they were talking about how Indy is missing something, like the killer instinct, that confidence. I'm like, have you not been paying attention to what she's been doing?
Yeah, they're probably like, well, 1 week she's a good guy, 1 week she's a bad guy. Sometimes within a single episode, she's a good guy and a bad guy. Maybe that's what they're talking about. She has to focus. She has to focus.
That could be. Then we got Chase U backstage. Andre's reading a paper. Thea and Duke walk in, and Duke's apologizing for booting Chase in the face. He's talking about how accurate he is with his boot.
Yeah.
Pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah.
And then he said, but it landed, it's meant for Kit, landed on your chin instead. He says, I apologize. I let you down. I let the university down. You deserve to be a champ right now. I'm gathering a list of members of the student body, or signatures from the student body, who believe that you should be in the Iron Survivor Challenge. He says, I'm going to take this petition and go to Shawn Michaels' office. And Chase is like, no, you don't have to do that. So Grayson Waller steps in and says, Chase, you're not street smart, because Duke's been playing you since day one. Duke only cares about Duke. And Duke says, I've had enough of this. Waller says, I would too if I had all those signatures for a man who won't even be in the match, let alone ever be champion. Oof. And then Thea starts to go after Grayson Waller, and Duke holds her back. And Chase says, I'm going to whoop Waller's ass after he leaves. And Duke says, no. I'll take care of him. Duke is hilarious. He is, and the bit about
the payoff later.
Yeah, it was
like
great.
He sets this up, and it is, you got to be paying attention to this stuff. But like he sets up like, this boot, it hits you on the chin, and I feel so bad about it. But then later on, he almost hits the Hale with the boot during his match.
And what does he say?
And he says very specifically, right there in front of Chase, see, I can stop it. On a dime. I can stop it when I need to. And he starts getting back in the ring, and Chase is like, when you need to? Wait a second. What do you mean when you need to?
Yeah.
That was really good. Yeah. I like the attention to detail is really good.
It is. So then we got Dijak versus Dante Chen. Dijak gets the win here with Feast Your Eyes. And then we get a promo. He says, this is an example of hard justice, unrelenting annihilation. I want you to look into my eyes. The only thing you'll see is the infliction of suffering. This place of refuge, but not for me. This place is a place of refuge, but not for me. I didn't come here to reinvent myself. I came here to eviscerate a soft society and any man who stands in my way. Wesley, Dante Chen, Apollo Crews, Braun Breaker. It makes zero difference to me. Every last one of you are nameless, faceless men who we brought to justice. My justice.
Yeah, reading it back.
It's not good.
Dude, yeah, that potentially could be read really bad.
I know. I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't like that.
Especially the first three names when he starts listing off names like that.
I know.
It's like, oh, he kind of saved himself with the Braun Breaker.
I know. I was like, oh, where is this going? This is
right. Like, this is a place of refuge. Do they know what's going on here?
Yeah, I know. This could be an issue.
I might actually have to delete that fucking hard justice emote. It's gonna get us canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe because
I'm
no.
gonna be turning around to hard justice real quick if this keeps going in this direction.
Because what you're saying is totally true. It's like it'd be one thing if he was a vigilante, actually enacting some justice. Some hard justice. Oh, there are rights, there are wrongs that need to be righted. But like, where would a character like this, if this is his manifesto, where would he actually get that? Where's the justice that he's referring to? Where's the justice that he needs to enact?
Well, that's his prerogative,
right? But it's like he's not even showing us where he believes there's injustice that needs to be fixed.
Well, I think in his mind, any place where he's not at the top is an injustice. I think that's what he's saying.
Right. Yeah. Anyways,
all right. I'll give this one more week.
Let's run away.
If it doesn't turn around, then I'm gonna flip on hard justice real quick.
Let's run away quickly from this, Larson.
Yes, exactly. Because within the span of this episode of being like, yeah, I like the presentation of hard justice, and now I'm like, oh no, now that I think about it more, maybe not.
Oh man. Oh goodness gracious. All right, let's move on to JD McDonough. He's there at the Diamond Dojo. My God, you're right. You wrote a lot of notes for this one.
Yeah, and I tried to keep it short.
Yeah, so he's telling Ivy, he's like, the Creeds are no match for Veer and Sangha, and the Creeds step in, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? And Ivy's like, I don't know why he's here. And then JD was like, no, we were having a talk. We're having a friendly talk. It's just silly that you guys are taking on Indus Sher. And then Julius asks, well, that's what you think. We don't care. He said, if that's what you think, we don't care. We know how you feel, and we know how you feel, and we're not backing down. And then Brutus says, we're ready for Veer and Sangha. Our wrestling is unmatched. We're going to win this fight fair. And then JD says, oh, there's no such thing as a fair fight against Indus Sher, and your wrestling isn't going to help you. He says, about bone density. He says, he tells the Creeds how much pressure it takes to crack a human skull. But with the Veer and Sangha, you're talking 2-3 times that minimum. And then Brutus is like, we've been proving doubters wrong our whole life. And JD says, I'm not a skeptic. I'm talking science. He says, I think it's impossible. And Julius says, impossible isn't in our vocabulary. This gym's all we got, but it's all we need. So get the hell out. And then JD's like, cool, man. Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to go have some eggs with Apollo Crews, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So then we got the first bit of the Hall of Fame panel discussing who should be in the men's Iron Survivor match. We already said who's going to be in it, but they brought up names like Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo. He was pretty quickly shot down by Shawn Michaels. X-Pac talks about JD McDonough. Molly talks Joe Gacy. Road Dogg wanted Von Wagner in, but then Road Dogg and X-Pac wanted Axiom in, and Road Dogg pretty much wanted like half the roster, and it seems like. So he mentions Grayson Waller. And that's when Shawn Michaels says, all right, everybody, write your list down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, we had that Grayson Waller versus Duke Hudson match. And the big bit here, of course, like we mentioned, they end up on the outside. Grayson Waller goes for a big boot. Duke Hudson goes for a big boot on Waller. And it's about to hit Thea Hale. And he's like, oh, see, no, I can stop it when I need to. Mm-hmm. He gets back in there. Waller hits him with a finish for the win. And Chase is left fairly confused.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was a good little bit of storytelling there. Then we have a Javier Bernal interview, and he says to Mackenzie, let's put our issues in the past. And Mackenzie's like, all right, fine. So he says, Christmas is my favorite time of the year, so I'm going to give the NXT universe what they want and what they need. Last week was Black Friday. Yesterday was Cyber Monday, but today is Big Body Tuesday. I got merch to sell. And
this is like the worst merch I've ever seen in my life.
He has the Big Body bat.
Oh, yeah.
A big body pillow, and Mackenzie says that's already been trademarked. You can't use that. And then big body cologne.
Yeah, Mackenzie's just dumping on him the entire time.
Yeah, she says that smells like rotten eggs.
Yeah.
So then Axiom steps in, and he's like, what does that smell? And Javier says, it's me. And Axiom says, well, I heard you wanted to fight. Javier's like, whoa, I don't know if I said fight, but then you're not cleared anyways. And Axiom says, oh, I am cleared. I'm going to go get this match made.
Yeah. No, that was pretty funny stuff, man. I'm on board with Big Body Javi.
There you go.
After that, we had Kiana James versus Fallon Henley. So was this for the bar?
No. Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Is that ever going to be put on the line?
You would think.
Okay. Anyways, what is it? Kiana James wins this match with the 401k.
It's a cool finish, that float over flatliner deal.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a good finish.
It's cool. No, I think she's a good wrestler. It's just that's a, what do you want to? What kind of character are you thinking of for yourself? Developer.
Yeah.
Developers.
Yeah, no, this is thinking developer.
She had just seen that Steve Ballmer clip. Developer. You stop me up. Anyways.
So we had Odyssey Jones, Malik Blade, and Idris Inofe backstage. I like these guys together. They got good chemistry already.
Yeah, they do.
So Odyssey tells Malik, hey, I know that sweater vest, it was his dad's sweater vest, meant a lot to you, but you can't let Vaughn get in your head. And Malik says, it wasn't even mine. It was my dad's. And I get what you're saying, but I got so much anger inside of me right now. And Idris says, use that anger. Use that pent-up aggression against Vaughn. And he says, you got an hour. Let Malik get in that Malik the Freak mode.
Yeah,
and
man.
Malik says, I'm in that mode. Vaughn better be real good at taking an ass whipping because he's taking one tonight. But he tells him, I want to handle this myself. Vaughn started this and made it personal, so I'm going to end this on my terms.
Yeah. After that, we had more Iron Survivor panel. They're talking the women's match. Medusa brings up Roxanne Perez. Road Dogg wants Zoe Stark. X-Pac says they're all surprised she hasn't gone to main roster yet. And Shawn Michaels like, yeah, those are phone calls you love to hear and you don't love to hear. And then Holly says the internet thinks Indy is ready for a call-up. Apparently Molly Holly is going in Raw fan. And then X-Pac mentions Cora Jade. And then Road Dogg's like, what about Fallon Henley? She owns a bar. And then X-Pac is like, how about Kiana James? She's trying to buy a bar. And then Molly Holly brings up Alba Fire. Says, if not for Isla Dawn, she'd be champ now. And then Road Dogg says something about Isla Dawn freaking him out because she casts a spell on him. Everybody laughs, but Road Dogg seems pretty serious about it. And then HBK's like, this is too much. The time for talk is over. Just write down who you want in the match.
Just write down the names. We'll work it out later.
I'll work it out over the next 3 segments.
There we go. Then we got Cora Jade doing a TikTok poking fun at Wendy Chu. And then we were supposed to get Caden Carter, Katana Chance, and Nikita Lyons versus Toxic Attraction, but Zoe Stark attacked Nikita during her entrance, takes out her leg.
Yeah.
Russ come out to break it up, and then Carter and Chance help Nikita backstage. And then we got Lyra Valkyria video package.
Lyra Valkyria.
She was Valkyrie in NXT UK.
Yes. Effie Valkyrie.
Effie, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she was good. She was really good.
No, dude, her presentation was fantastic.
Awesome,
she was a good wrestler. Yeah, man. A lot of these NXT UK peeps evidently getting their visas sorted out so they can come work here in the States, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Same.
After that, we had an Elektra Lopez interview, asked why she was targeting Indy, who now would be, I guess, a face. She says, I targeted Indy because it makes the biggest impact with the lowest amount of risk. She says, Indy has this connection with NXT that I don't understand. Said, but it seems to be a trend that she doesn't understand things. But I don't follow trends. I set trends. And whatever it is, Indy's the heart of this division. If I take out the heart, it's mine for the taking. She said, I didn't come back to make friends. I came back to build an empire of my own. And if Indy wants to bet on herself, go ahead. But don't bet against me or you end up going to go broke.
Then we had Javier Bernal taking on Axiom. Bernal wisely goes after Axiom's leg that JD twisted into a pretzel but 2 weeks ago. Nonetheless, not enough to get the win.
Nope.
Axiom hits a superplex and follows with his finisher, Golden Ratio, for the W.
That is correct. After that, we have a trainer checking up on Nikita's leg. And she's like, yeah, I'm good. And he's like, yeah, it's nothing alarming. It's probably just some bruising, maybe. I don't know. And then he clears her. And then, what's her faces? Caden Carter and Catanzaro are there. And they're like, hey, you know, are you good to go? And she's like, yeah, the only one who should be alarmed is Zoe Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, she actually should be alarmed because her fucking leg got messed up in that last match.
Yeah, I know. Just completely gave out towards the end.
Yeah.
Then we got a pretty deadly interview. They say they haven't there's been enough pretty deadly talk. The whole world has been locked watching the World Cup. Next week, that's going to change because they're going to tell a Christmas story.
Oh, God, this is going to go too long.
You got that right.
Yeah, after that, we got Apollo Crews sitting in a diner. He's writing in his little journal. And then Braun Breaker, he's got like a whole full plate of eggs, hasn't been touched, getting cold. He's got a plate of toast, which I refuse to think that he's actually going to eat. I think he's going to go for the eggs. I'm even surprised he's eating that because it's like from a restaurant. I figured that he'd have that all very controlled.
Yeah.
But carbs, you think he's going to eat that toast?
If it was whole wheat, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That looked like freaking greasy as heck. Anyways, after that it was like half butter, half toast. J.D. McDonough, because the actual segment was later, right? Or is that the segment? Oh, that's the segment.
That is the segment, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they talk a bunch.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I thought this was like the setup or something. So,
no,
yeah.
No, this is the actual thing.
So Braun sits down, and he's like, hey, can I join you? And he gets some coffee, doesn't drink any. And in fact, and then Apollo's like, hey, you want your sugars? He said, here's 2 sugars. And Braun's like, oh, man, you knew that I like sugar in my coffee. And I'm like, he's not taking in sugar. So
probably not, no.
And he's like, so they just sort of like, you know, spar off a little bit in terms of, you know, who's going to win this match. They always have verbal altercations, but it's all very friendly. And Apollo's like, hey, man, you didn't have the strength advantage against Von Wagner, but you had the speed advantage. I got both on you. And Braun Breaker's like, no, you don't. I'm the same as you. And Apollo's like, we'll see. And then Braun Breaker's like, he's like, does everything come true that you write down in that journal? And Apollo's like, yup. And Braun's like, first time for everything. And then Apollo's like, fuck you. And then Braun's like, okay, I'm out of here. No, it was all very cordial. And
yeah,
then,
it was pretty well done.
Yeah. No, I like the actual chemistry between these two and the dynamic I thought was really well done. It's just the filming. The actual filming was kind of dog shit.
Seemed like it was all one take pretty much.
Yeah.
Then we got J.D. McDonough versus Julius Creed. This was a fun match pretty early on. Veer and Sangha come down ringside. And so down towards the finish, J.D. is trying to twist Julius's leg like he did to Axiom. Creed powers out of that, boots J.D. to the floor. So J.D. goes right back after Julius's leg, gets a chair from under the ring, and takes a swing at Julius. But then Sangha pushes Julius out of the way and eats the chair shot.
Yeah, right.
And so the ref calls the DQ for some reason.
I mean, the only thing I could think is because he pushed him, he actually made physical contact.
That could be.
Because then they called it a DQ win for Julius Creed.
Yeah.
Because he was shoved, even though the shove was to take, It
was to save him instead of...
It was to save him.
The hamper, Anyway.
I mean, we've talked about the rules before. If you have your corner guy, your manager, and he touches you to help you out in a manner, this is not a DQ situation, but they're not his manager. So
no, I get that. It just seemed like a flimsy... We've seen a lot more happen with no DQ.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So then Veer and Sangha step up to Julius and Brutus and says, we did that because we want you at 100%.
Right. Yes. After that, we had a video package. Alba Fire's pretty pissed off at Isla Dawn for good reason.
Yes.
There's going to be some witchcraft stuff going on there. And then
you got that right.
Hard Justice is leaving the arena. And Stack steps up to him. He says, hey, the Dawn wants a word with you. And Tony D'Angelo's back. He says, hey, I'm Tony D. And Dijak's like, yeah, I know who you are. And then Tony thanks Dijak, he says, for softening up Wes Lee. And Dijak says, I didn't come here to do anybody any favors, including myself, if we all know where this is going. And then Tony says, you know, a while back used to be a big deal around here. I've always had a good relationship with the authorities. And Tony says, I'm back in the ring next week, and I'm going to see to it that Lee's days as North American champ are numbered. He's like, do we have an understanding? And Dijak's like, yeah, something like that.
See, like if Dijak was the vigilante, like his presentation would lead you to believe, then him feuding with Tony D'Angelo makes sense.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Because Tony D, he's a mob boss.
Exactly. So
I saw the story writes itself, basically.
I did. I saw this like, okay, maybe this is the direction they're going. I kind of forgot about the promo he dropped earlier in the show.
You know, he's like out there. Don't feel bad. We're all learning, man. Because it'd be like they do a thing down at the docks. You know, Dijak would blow up one of their shipments,
Yeah, and then Tony would look around and maybe see some shadow of Dijak running away, then yell, Dijak!
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes all the sense.
That makes sense.
That's an 80s action movie right there. That writes itself.
Yeah. Anyways, after that, Von Wagner versus Malik Blade. Von Wagner gets the finish here. And then he's looking for a press slam after the fact, and Inoue runs to the ring to make the save. Vaughn hits him with some kicks. Odyssey Jones comes to the ring to make the save. So we got a feud going on there.
Yep. And then Shawn Michaels announces the participants for the Iron Survivor Challenge match, as we talked about that already. Mm-hmm. Then we got our main event, Toxic Attraction versus Carter Chance and Lyons. This all comes down to Nikita Lyons' knee giving out. Right as she's about to do a spin kick. And then JC hits her with the forearm, tags in Gigi. Toxic Attraction hit their finish to get the W.
Yep. Yeah, Nikita's really selling that leg there. After that, I'm sorry, not after that, but we also watched Impact this week.
Well, I mean, it was after. It was Thursday versus Tuesday. So you weren't
okay. I'm on the right path there. Thank you for doling out your own form of hard justice.
Don't compare me to hard justice. I don't want that now.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to ruin your hard justice.
No, because it occurred to me like this promo. I was like, something seems off.
Something seemed off about it last night, and the fact that we were able to go back, look at the words, inspect all the evidence. That's what we do here at Going In Raw.
That is, and now it's the revelation has happened. The light bulb has turned on. I'm like, okay, I gotta be wary about hard justice right now. The presentation, want to like it.
Yeah.
Words coming out of his mouth, don't like
suspect. Suspect. He's suspect.
Don't like so much.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Nothing I don't like. Bully Ray dropping like a 20-minute promo to kick off an episode of Impact.
Isn't his thesis here pretty flawed? Like because he's like, Josh, you forgot who I was, and the fans forgot who I was. No, everybody's reminding us.
Everybody knows who you are. Everybody, you're the one walking around saying I'm better now, and Tommy Dreamer's saying that too.
But everybody Tommy doesn't believe it.
And even Tommy was on the fence about it. Yeah.
And then Moose was like, "Hey, I told you, Bully Ray had you all fooled, but I told you he was a scumbag." And it was like, "No, we all knew he was still a scumbag."
The entire thesis for going back like a month now was Bully Ray's a piece of shit who can't be trusted.
Yeah, so he proved that out to be the case. Yes.
Yeah, he didn't fool anybody.
No.
He says, but so he talks a lot about all that.
He spends 10 minutes saying that.
Yeah, and he says the greatest Josh Alexander might be in the ring. He says he's not smart like I'm smart. I'm one of the smartest guys in the industry. And then he kept on talking. He made some tacky comments about Hogan's kid. And then says in the end, he says, I'm Bully Ray. I'm going to be your 3-time champ. And then Rich Swann runs to the ring, and he attacks Bully, and a ref comes down and refs a match between Bully Ray.
Yeah, they said it was actually scheduled in advance, but when Rich Swann ran down, they said, oh, this is Bully's. That's what Tom Hannafin said. This is Bully's opponent for the night. So it wasn't just like an impromptu thing.
Yeah, right. Well, that's cool, Did Bully do something to Rich Swann before? Am I missing something?
This was a first time ever match, so I don't know. You made a point.
It was last week. I did not watch it last week. I don't think I did.
Oh, I guess I didn't watch it.
Yeah, we didn't do a Friday show.
We didn't do a Friday show, so I didn't watch it last week either. So maybe something motivated this match. Anyway,
I might have to go back and see if there was a Violent by Design thing last week, because if there was a lead up to what we saw tonight, I gotta watch.
It's worthwhile. So Bully spent most of this match kicking out of Rich Swann's offense at 1. Except for that 450 at the end, which he kicked out at 2, and then he realized had a realization, I'm not gonna be able to beat Rich Swann, so I'm gonna go grab my hunk of chain over here and hit him with it.
Yeah.
So he gets DQ'd, and then he hits Rich Swann with a chair, zip ties him to the bottom rope, about to hit it with a chair again. Tommy Dreamer runs out and says, "Hey, knock it off!" And he gets in Bully's face, and he says, "I stood up for you." And Bully says, after all that we've gone through together, you're going to stick up for him, for Rich Swann? And then he shoves Tommy and picks up the chain. Then Scott D'Amore runs out and loses his absolute mind. He wants to beat the shit out of Bully Ray. And that was the best part, next to the Violent by Design and the Deonna Purrazzo Mickie James match. That was the best part of this episode, is Scott D'Amore wanting to beat the hell out of Bully Ray.
See, that to me is a much more realistic like matchup for Bully Ray is Scott D'Amore.
Someone who hasn't wrestled in at least 10 to 15 years.
I believe that Bully Ray could beat him, and it's like a match. Mm-hmm. The idea that Josh Alexander couldn't destroy Bully Ray in moments, not even measured in man's time, in moments. This nebulous idea of, oh my God, that was fast. How long was that? Moments.
Yeah. Moments.
Josh Alexander should annihilate Bully Ray.
In no universe should Bully Ray be kicking out of Rich Swann's offense at 1.
In no universe should he have won a gauntlet battle royal thing where Macklin's in it.
Should have won that.
Right, exactly.
Well, then they had the same exact finish basically for this match that they had for the Macklin match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Charity get DQ'd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's silly.
It was pretty lame. So at the end of that bit, Bully grabs a mic and says, "Scott, remember one thing," and that's what Scott D'Amore calls him, a piece of shit. And Bully says, "You're right. For once in our careers, we agree on something. I am a piece of shit, but you're the one that hired me." Mm-hmm. Like it's Scott D'Amore's fault. Then we get a Trey Miguel promo. He's totally a heel now. He says, "People aren't happy with me. What'd make me happy? I did the best. I made sure to get back what was mine. The X Division title is about history. It's about the past, but it's about time you look at it. Think about the future." And then he spray paints his logo on it.
I like this. I thought this was filmed really nicely too. Mm-hmm. I don't know what camera or lens they used, but it looked great. They super letterboxed it.
They used the Violent by Design audio editing method of having certain words kind of echo through.
Yeah, so whoever's doing that, we see the sense of style now, huh? Mm-hmm. The lighting was really good too. That's one thing about Impact. Sometimes their backstage segments are just lit like dog shit. It has like
sometimes they're really good.
They just blast the light in there. This was actually looked like it was lit by somebody who knew what they were doing. It was really good. Yeah,
it was good. It was really good.
After that, we had Moose versus Bhupinder Gujjar. Dude, I'll give it up to Moose. In like all of his matches where he's against somebody where clearly he's going to win, he always lets them get a ton of shit in. I mean, unless it's like an intentional squash match. But, they're trying to do things with Bhupinder Gujjar. Mm-hmm. And I thought this match was, he lost, obviously, but it was a tremendous showing for him. When I thought it was going to be done with, they let it go another 5 minutes of him outsmarting Moose and almost hitting his finish. And Moose just sort of, got out of the way at the last second. And then Bhupinder dodged another spear, and then Moose went right back to it and hit him with the spear to get the win. But I thought it made Bhupinder look pretty damn good.
It did. And then he got his heat back. Bhupinder did.
Yeah, after the match, Moose started beating him down, and then he gets on the mic. And he says, where are we here? So he says, I'm the guy who told you. He says, do you know who I am? Do we all know who I am? I'm the guy who told you who Bully Ray really was, and nobody listened to me. He says, I told you all that Bully was going to screw Josh Alexander just like he did at Bound for Glory, but you idiots once again didn't listen. He says, do you really think I lost at Overdrive? Hell no. I won at Overdrive because I was right. Now, I never want to hear Bully's name ever again. In fact, I don't want to hear anyone say his name.
Say his name, and he appears.
So Joe Hendry comes out, and Moose is like, what the hell are you doing in my ring? And Joe says, well, you called me out. And Moose says, no, I was talking about Bully, and I was handling serious business. And Joe says, no, you said say his name, and I appeared. And when people say that, they usually mean we believe. And Moose just looks confused. He says, you know what? All these idiots want to have a good time, but I don't have time for your games. So get out of my ring, or I'm going to hurt you. And Hendry says, if you want me to get out of this ring, we can do that. But I don't think that's really what you want to see. From a current champ to a former one, I know a cry for help when I see one. And then Joe puts his hand on Moose's shoulder when he says that. And then Moose tries to take a swing, but Hendry blocks it. Looks to try to get a standing ovation, but Moose escapes that, hits a pump kick. Hendry gets back to his feet, ducks a swing from Moose, and then Gujjar hits Moose with the gargoyle spear. Stands tall. So Moose, he's a dude. He can take some losses, and he always looks like $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then we got a Mike Bailey interview, and he talks about if it wasn't for Kenny King, he would have won the X Division tournament. He would have won the 6-man match in advance of Overdrive. He says, regardless of what Kenny's trying to do, I'm not going to let him affect me. My goals and impact are going to remain exactly what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, we had a video package for Mickie James' last rodeo. Of course, she's got Deonna Purrazzo in the main event. After that, we had Steve Macklin versus Kazarian. This ended up a DQ finish because Macklin was getting frustrated with Kazarian. He got a chair, started beating the shit out of Kaz with the chair after, he hit him in the gut to get the DQ, and then he hits his finisher on chair.
Then we get Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans backstage, and Tasha's talking about, I can't believe we lost the tag title bout against Death Dolls. And she says to Savannah, where were you? Where were you when we lost? And Savannah says, well, I was trying to stop the Death Dolls from pinning you. And Tasha goes, oh, this one's on me. Well, if you think you're so bad because you beat Jessica, how about you face Taya next week?
Yeah, I like that. There are little seeds of discontent between the two of them. I think wasn't it just announced that Tasha decided to re-sign with Impact, which I think is a great keep for Impact because she's terrific. She's
awesome. Yeah. She's really awesome. Really, really awesome. Then we got an Ed Edwards interview. Yeah. So he's asked by Gia about, the marriage. And he says, I don't want to talk about that. This past year's taken a toll on my marriage, and that's why it's important for me to bury the past. He mentions burying PCO in the desert. He says, I'm done with the past. I don't regret a thing I did over the last year. I don't regret Honor No More because I did to build a better future for myself and Impact, and that's what I'm focused on, the future. And then Delirious steps in, and he goes, and Ed Edwards says, oh, talk about someone from my past. What are you even doing here? Yeah. They have a little bit of a stare down. I'm sure that's going to lead to a match next week, which Ed Edwards will win.
Seems to be the case.
And then PCO will come out covered in dirt.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Attack Ed Edwards.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. We'll get more of that. After that, we have Heath and Rhino backstage. Motor City Machine Gun step in.
This turned contentious real fast.
It really did, yeah, because Saban was like, hey, man, we were promised a tag title shot. And he says, yeah, man, you deserve a shot. He says, I'm going to go to Scott D'Amore. Let's make this match next week. Let's make it happen. And then, Motor City Machine Gun's like, oh, man, thanks so much, dude. You guys are great. You're great. And then Rhino just starts yelling at him. He's like, we're going to destroy you. We're going to rip your heart out. And you're going to watch it beat for the last time from a gore. And then Rhino steps off, and they're shook. And he just sort of laughs and said, man, I love that guy. Yeah. It was pretty funny stuff.
It was pretty funny. And then we had our main event, Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James. This was a really good bout. Mickie had to cheat to win.
I loved it because Deonna tried to, and Mickie, veteran savvy, her whole career's on the line.
Yep.
Grabs those tights and gets the roll-up win for herself. This was a terrific match.
It was really good. It was really, really good.
Yeah, this was really good. I'd recommend anybody go take a look at it.
Yes.
Afterwards, we got potentially her final opponent, man. Jordynne Grace shows up. She says, I know you wanted to work your way back to the top, and nobody can dispute that you've done that. You've taken care of your business. I've taken care of mine, so it's finally time. You and me, for the first time ever, for the Knockouts title at Hard to Kill. What do you say? Mickie shakes her hand, and they agree. She tries to leave, and then Grace pulls her back. They talk some shit to each other.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to be it, man?
It could be. I mean, I feel like it's a bit quick.
It does feel like it's a bit quick.
Could they have Mickie win and then have Masha beat her for the title? Or have a rematch at was it Slammiversary? That's in July, right?
Yeah.
Or Sacrifice already happened. What's their
Slammiversary is what are we in? We're in December?
Because Bound for Glory is in October. Slammiversary is like June, July.
Okay.
But they have one more between Slammiversary and Hard to Kill. I don't remember what it's
probably
called.
the name of it.
Oh, it's Revolution.
Movie.
It's Revolution.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I think it's Rebellion.
I'm sorry, Revolution. Okay. Yeah.
Rebellion. Maybe they have it there. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
It just seems kind of like I thought they'd get a year out of this,
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that late. It was right before she did this that she was like, yeah, I'm probably retired. I think she had actually said, I'm pretty much retired. Mm-hmm. And then they concocted this. So maybe she was like, hey, there's a list of people. 6 more months. There's a list of people that I want to, get through. And Jordynne is sort of the natural finish to that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, that could be. Then after that, we had the Violent by Design segment where Diener murders Eric Young. So they're sitting across from each other at a table. Like one you'd see, I guess, in like a interrogation room. So there's a little thing on there that if someone's cuffed, the cuffs will go through this loop, and so they can't move around the room. So they're sitting across from each other, and there's a shiv in the middle of the table. And so Eric Young asked Diener, why did you turn to Violent by Design? And Diener says, to fight the sickness. I've always reviled the sickness. And Eric Young asks him, How do you know when you've encountered the sickness? And Diener says, failure.
Mm-hmm.
And EY asks him, what will you do to eliminate will you do anything to eliminate the sickness? And Diener says, yes. And then Eric Young says, what if the sickness was in the room right now? If the sickness was in this room right now, would you do anything to eliminate it? And Diener hesitates.
He starts looking around. He's like, is this a trick question? Was sort of the idea.
I love the implication is like, it could be either one of them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He might be thinking this dude, because you typically think of, and that's what I love about this, leaders of factions, which could be in some, especially with Violent by Design, basically a cult. Leaders are disingenuous egomaniacs. And so Diener's thinking to himself, is he throwing me under the bus? And it turns out that Eric Young is a man of conviction, because and they start showing all these like clips of Eric Young losing. And when Diener hesitates, Eric Young says, it's a simple yes or no. And Diener says, yes. And so Eric Young says, as would I. And then they both reach for the shiv. They brawl. And they start like thumbing each other's eyes. They're just like beating the shit out of each other. They go back to like other clips of them. They go back to the fight, and like, you know, depending on what clip of the fight they show, one person or the other has the upper hand. It's not like, it doesn't seem like a linear told fight. You know, it's like one hand you got one guy bashing his head and the other guy's clawing his thumb. So it's like, it's very sort of discombobulating. And so Diener says, he asks, because Diener eventually does get the upper hand, and he's on top of Eric Young. Eric Young's bleeding. And he says, why did you make me do this? He says, we can fix this. And Eric Young says, yes, we can. You can. Kill the sickness. And then Diener grabs the shiv and he says, become the violence. He says, I'm the designer. You're the design. And so, whoop-ah, Diener stabs Eric Young, insinuating to death. We don't actually see, but that's the idea. And then and he says, I'm the designer, you're the designer. There's a great close up of Diener at that point, and it's like, it's like holy shit. I kind of just from this, I sort of see Diener now as that guy who took that next step, you know. And I hope that they book him and Angels and Big Con and all those dudes in yellow hoodies strong as a real threat, because that's what you need to do now. You can't have Diener go around taking losses. Nope. He's got to be a bigger deal now. But what a great line. I was this entire time, I was the designer, and I was doing this the entire time to make you. To get you ready to assume leadership, Right. And he sacrifices himself to do it. I love that. And even at the very end, it's like, can you pass this final test? You know? Right, yeah. Can you best me in hand-to-hand combat? And if you can, then you get the spot. Right, exactly. Like, there's so many layers to the brawl itself. It's really good storytelling. It's good stuff. Yeah, dude. No, I was really into this. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. I mean, Impact started with the turd, but between that main event and then this segment here, I was like, oh wow, that's a strong way to finish things, man. Let's go ahead and answer a couple questions here. I've got a thread on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson. Also, you know what? I forgot, and so we're gonna do them here. If you want to head over to our YouTube channel, there's some there. The community thread, well, I posted a bonus episode questions thread there. And because we were so wrapped up in our silliness with the AI art stuff. It's easy to do. Yeah. So let's see here. First up from Alex Foster says, what other things regarding the roster should the NXT roundtable talk about on air? Who needs a change? William Regal is going to have on the show. There you go. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Kiana James, should she be forced to give up her developer's license if she wants to wrestle full time? Wow. Yeah. People can't have two jobs? No. They're independent contractors. They have to do only WWE. They can pursue other business interests outside the wrestling. WWE independent contractor means you have to only do WWE. I know. That's the WWE's definition of it. Although you see, this is something that we could have manufactured for a thumbnail. Kevin Owens in that interview with Corey Graves, I think it was Corey Graves. Yeah, it was after the bell. Yeah. After the bell, saying that he thinks that it's possible to do independent wrestling shows now while you're with the WWE, or that's more crazy. Possible than ever. More possible, yeah. I kind of feel like it's like I guess it's not like a black and white thing, a binary thing, because like Shinsuke was, he's doing the Muta show.
But he had to like really lobby for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But still, that's more possible than under McMahon,
Yeah, totally. Red Tube here on YouTube asks, do you think Roman will hold the Universal Championship until SummerSlam? At the latest. I think that's the latest he's going to have it. I think he'll beat The Rock, and then Cody or somebody will beat him.
I think you're right, yeah. Timer says, what one confusing rule would you add to the Iron Survivor match? Oh, wow. What a great question. What would you add to it to make it even more confusing?
Proxies.
Explain.
Like, say you're in the match for a bit and you've taken a pinfall, you've been in the penalty box, you don't think you're tired, you need a breather. I say this person as my proxy for the rest of the match.
That's good. I like that. That's very confusing.
You can have subs essentially.
That's awesome. That's very confusing. I'm going to do this. If you go into the penalty box, you have to be in the penalty box for half the time that the last competitor entered the match. So if the last competitor entered the match 5 minutes ago, you have to be in the penalty box 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. Man, that makes the rest do a lot of math.
It's so confusing.
It's so confusing.
David Matushek says, since Eric Young got killed off on Impact and is going to be reincarnated in WWE, what other gruesome ways should wrestlers get written off TV?
I mean, if Rhino is going to really like tear the Motor City Machine Guns apart.
Actual gore, yeah.
Actual gore, yeah. Actual like gore.
That's good.
And then they could show up in NXT or something.
I'm going to say a wood chipper accident.
In AEW.
A wood chipper accident. Remember when Von Wagner and Kyle O'Reilly were like best friends in the forest?
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle, I got a wood chipper over here. Let's go use it on this dead body I found on my property. Kyle's like, what? He's like,
it hardly seems like an accident then.
Kyle's like, I got to go to the police about this. No, Kyle. Guess what? You're in the wood chipper now.
It doesn't seem like much of an accident there.
Right. Well, to Vaughn, it's an accident.
This is a great question here from David De La Cruz. If you were to join Braun Apollo at the diner, what would you order? Biscuits and gravy.
Oh, man. Those eggs didn't look all that appealing.
No.
So I'd see anymore, the toast. The toast did look pretty thick, though. I might try their French toast. I might go for some French toast, some bacon on the side, some fucking sausage. Holy shit, that sounds great.
Good. Sausage is
that sounds so good right now, man.
You don't want to answer this question from D. Kyle? You don't want to talk about Hard Justice anymore?
It's dangerous ground. Okay, fine. Nikyle, if Hard Justice became a faction name in NXT, that's right, who would Dijak recruit to join Hard Justice?
I don't really want to talk about Hard Justice anymore.
I can't. I've got answers in my head, but it's going to get me in trouble, so I'm not going to do that. Paul is almost here.
Oh, all right.
So we got to Zoom him. Do we have any more questions on the community?
No, we only had 3, and they're all from the same person. So I asked the best of the 3 questions.
All right. Let's see here. Yeah, I got so much of this.
Oh wait, hold on. We got
There was a super chat earlier.
Yeah.
From Dethronic 78.
Yeah. If Regal is to come back to WWE, why don't they wait to Survivor Series and he can surprise announce the War Games match? I'm guessing just the contract situation didn't work that way. If his contract's up, say, at the end of the year, they're not going to wait and have Survivor Series in January,
Yeah, right.
Survivor Series November pay-per-view.
I'm sure they would have loved to have had him a month ago,
totally.
But yeah, you can't wait a whole nother year whenever they're going to do it. All right, here we go. Here's Paul. He's waiting. I don't like to keep him waiting. Hi, Paul Levesque here. How can I help you? This is WWE headquarters. How can I help you?
Hi, Triple H. How are you?
Oh, God, I forgot I had this call today.
Going in Raw here. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Steve? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. It's Friday. Are you excited about Friday?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Smackdown tonight.
Let me ask you something. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Have you heard of this thing called Elf on the Shelf?
Yeah.
All right. Why would anybody get their dumb kids Elf on the Shelf when they could be getting them Beyblade? What? How about this? I'm going to pitch this to you. I want you to take it to your kids and your kids' friends and your kids' friends' parents, okay?
All right.
Beyblade on the shelf, 10 of them. You get a big shelf. You get 10 Beyblades. You put them on a shelf, and it's Beyblade. It's a new Christmas tradition. Christmas, and here's the thing. It's across all beliefs. Christmas, Hanukkah, the other stuff, okay?
Beyblades for everybody on the shelf.
Would there be a book that goes with it to explain the story of Beyblades on the shelf?
Even better, yeah. It's just written on the back of the thing. Yeah. Well, no, I'll just tell you. Yeah, I don't think this isn't really. This is just my idea here. So I'll give you the story.
All right.
The very first Christmas, 2022 years ago, right? So they had the big man there, and they're not treating him great, and so they were like, no, wait, no, that's Easter. No, this is the one where he was born. Okay, so here's the deal.
Yeah, that's right.
You had 3 wise men,
and
they were all on Beyblades. They were all on Beyblades, and they were whizzing to the little baby Jesus.
Wait, sorry, they were riding Beyblades?
They were riding Beyblades, the 3 wise men. And they were riding these Beyblades to the fucking barn that Jesus was being born in.
The manger.
The manger, yeah, exactly. The barn, that's what I said. Don't interrupt. They were like riding on the Beyblades. And so they get to the barn, and they're like, oh, you know what this kid would love? Some Beyblades. So get him 10 blades.
Was it a Beyblade coming in from the atmosphere that made the star with the tail?
Don't interrupt.
That's a good idea. Have the Beyblade come in from the atmosphere, it lands, and the wise men find that, and they ride the Beyblades to the manger.
Listen. Listen. You guys got all your little wise man manger setups outside, right? You're doing like your stupid Christmas decorations. You gotta have 10 Beyblades. You gotta put the wise men on the Beyblades. That's what you gotta do. And then you got little baby Jesus coming out of the Mary on a Beyblade.
God.
With all the stuff that comes out of that.
Oh my God.
It's disgusting. Oh my God.
That's all right. Well, I mean, that's an idea.
You ever watch a kid get bored? It's terrifying.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
It's like that movie Alien. Yeah.
So that's an idea. Do you have any ideas for Smackdown tonight?
Yeah, all Beyblades all the time. Ricochet riding in on a Beyblade. It's great. And then what else we got here? Oh yeah, Ricochet versus Santos Escobar in the finals of the Smackdown World Cup. We're gonna give that one at least 25 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And then also tonight on SmackDown, I don't know who's on. That's right, the Bloodline. We're gonna find out how they feel about if they're still cool with Sami Zayn or not.
Well, if it's on FS1, so you can have a major story beat happen on FS1 tonight.
No, nobody's gonna watch this shit. So no, it's gonna be we're gonna tease something. He's gonna tease it, but it's not really gonna happen. But then it's gonna happen when everybody's watching.
Is Ricochet gonna get the Beyblade Tron commercial tonight?
He's not just gonna get the Ricochet. He's not just gonna get the Beyblade Tron. He's gonna be Beyblade. You know, we thought about it with Austin Theory, but nobody likes that guy. Everybody loves Ricochet, and he sort of moves around like a Beyblade, all fast and shit. But then he's going to have this finisher where like they're going to have like a giant ripcord thing in him, and then you're going to pull it out of him, and he's going to go, and he's going to
really fast.
He's going to do his finisher on Santos Escobar.
All right.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And then everybody in Legado del Fantasma, Beyblade del Fantasma, they're all going to come out on Beyblades too.
So how much longer? Sorry to interrupt. How much longer do we have to? Are we going to have these Beyblade integrations on the show?
In perpetuity. It was a $1 billion deal.
Oh wow!
This is like Karate Fighters, but 1,000,000 times over. It was a massive deal, and we have to sell so many Beyblades. In fact, I can't talk much longer. I got to go out to my car. I got to go to the parking lot. I got to sell some out of the back of my trunk.
All right. Well, I mean, we're down for 10. You can give us 10.
All right, 10. I'll get you 10 Beyblades, no discount. I'll double price them, and so it'll be like 20, but you only get 10. Thank you so much. FriendoShop.com. We're going to have some Beyblades going there as well. 20% off Friendo Friday is the code. Don't interrupt shirt. All proceeds go to Beyblade. Triple H out.
What's up? Is that good?
Great. Yeah,
that went good?
That went great, yeah.
Really? This is really taking off, man. You're really doing a service to the show here by taking these Triple H calls, man.
He pitched an idea for essentially
he's got all those Beyblades for some reason.
All those Beyblades. So he pitched an idea essentially for a Beyblade nativity set for Christmas.
That might be kind of offensive, right? Like people were very sensitive.
I mean, he was really into it, so we were bouncing ideas off each other. It's just
wow,
just ideas.
Okay, all right. Well, that's cool. If you can somehow respectfully integrate Beyblades into the nativity scene and all that.
I mean, that's I guess that's open for debate or interpretation. But
what did he have? Like an idea that was kind of over the top?
Well, it involved the 3 wise men riding in on Beyblades.
Well, that seems fine. That's a small...
And then I suggested, the star that they see that heralds, have that actually be a giant Beyblade going through the
Oh,
atmosphere.
that's cool too.
And
That's
hitting
cool
Earth,
too. Yeah.
And they find those and then they ride them.
I mean, dude, as long as he didn't say anything weird like, the baby Jesus comes out of Mary on a Beyblade or something.
He did mention that. He did. It's
What?
funny you say that because he did
That's
mention
disgusting. What is his problem? God.
that. It's funny you mentioned that when he mentioned that too.
Well, yeah, it was sort of a natural conclusion. anybody
Not
would
really.
make.
Not from anything I
Absolutely
said.
is. Completely is, yeah.
Why do you talk like
Spideyville-
Triple H there for a second?
Nah, I got a bug in my throat. I've had it forever. Spideyville says, sounds like Larson finally took notes from Steve DeHart.
I don't
agree.
pay attention to any notes.
I mean, it sounds like it's going well, and I've been providing you notes. I mean, I know it's been, returned to sender, but I imagine you sort of peek at it and then you return it to sender.
No, I don't peek at anything.
Oh, really?
The irony of the thing today is I was talking and he interrupted me though.
Did you tell him not to interrupt?
No, of course not.
Good idea. I mean, smart move. Do not tell him that.
Maybe another time it will.
Everything seems to be going very well between you two.
Yeah, it went good today.
I'm glad. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, everybody. On that high note, what a high note that is. Thanks for tuning in. We all definitely appreciate it. We'll see you when we see you, I guess, on
We
Monday.
got to
at
count
the
out
latest.
this weekend. We
got to count out this weekend.
afternoon.
That's right. The votes came in from our patrons and our YouTube channel members. Top 10 mistakes made by AEW. That'll be fun in the comments.
Yes.
Check that out. New member RedTube. I'm sorry, not new member, for 3 months now. Says instead of calling Triple H in next time, you should call Vince in and get his opinion. That would probably wreak havoc on Vince's throat. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.